history of America was written by men who followed the sun. Men who needed elbow room, who wanted to build and extend the dream of freedom and plenty right to the shores of the broad Pacific.
What do you know? There's going to be a jamboree.
What's a jamboree, Jim?
Well, it's just about the most important thing that can happen in a boy's life, Bill. A great big outdoor get-together of Boy Scouts from all over the United States.
How do you know so much about it, Jim?
Well, I used to be a Boy Scout back in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Troop 3. There's going to be scouts here from Canada and Mexico, England, France, Japan. Almost every place in the world, I guess.
Sounds like another gold rush.
It is kind of like a gold rush. Only the gold these boys are going to be seeking is health and fun, friendship, cooperation. So they just camp outside right next to nature. Now, they're going to camp right down. It's very historic ground, all of it. The Irvine Ranch, right down in there. These 3,000 acres once belonged to a Spanish Don. The old Padres walked here and brought the word of God and the King's Highway. Kit Carson came, too, with men looking for wealth in the ground. But none thought to find the greatest treasure of all, youth. For in 1953, there's to be a gathering here of youngsters from every corner of the globe, and it'll be called the Boy Scout Jamboree.
Yes, on this naked ground, a great city will be built which will hold 50,000 boys. It will last for only 1 week, but what a memorable week that will be. First come the surveyors to lay out the land. 8 miles of roads are being graded. Thousands of tons of dirt must be moved to fill in ravines and level the high spots. There'll be lots of traffic on the main streets, so we'll asphalt them and sprinkle the secondary roads to keep the dust down. We were afraid to take a chance on that old bridge, so we borrowed a portable one from Uncle Sam, who's always willing to help his nephews and their friends. This machine can dig a 6-foot post hole faster than Mom can cut a batch of donuts. Jamboree Town will be larger than Tucson, Arizona, or New London, Connecticut, or Dubuque, Iowa, or Miami Beach, Florida. It's big business, and we'll need telephone lines to transact that business. But the most important calls will come from mothers. Please, how's my scout doing? Has Junior enough underwear? And Dad'll keep the wires humming, too, because he remembers what it's like to be away from home for the first time. It'll take 88 miles of pipe, carrying 3 million gallons of water a day to supply Jamboree Town with water for cooking, drinking, and showers. And we'll need 1,400 showers to keep those 50,000 shower-happy youngsters clean. This is going to be our small theater. A cozy little place that'll seat a mere 16,000 people. Keep your eye on that surveyor's car. It's driving down what's going to be the center aisle of the world's largest theater. Yes, sir, it'll seat 75,000 spectators. You watching that car? Well, it'll stop at the edge of the stage where the footlights are going to be. It's even bigger than I thought. That stage you're looking at has the most modern equipment in the world, and it'll hold a cast of 6,000 sterling actors. That's a lot of ham, you say. Well, not these actors. They're your sons and mine. Of course, you can't run a town or a theater without electricity. The power used here would light and refrigerate your house for the next 926 years. Near this symbol of liberty is the Avenue of Flags, where the banners of the free nations will soon be unfurled. A fitting tribute to a man who will live forever in the hearts of free men. The great Englishman, Sir Robert Baden-Powell, who founded the Boy Scouts in 1908. Scouts from all over are getting ready for the Jamboree. But it takes money, so the boys have gone to work here in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Hey, Fred. What's the idea? Aren't you coming to the ball game?
Sorry, I can't.
We were counting on you to pitch.
I have to do this one and 2 more.
What's so important about the lawn, anyway? Can't it wait until tomorrow?
I mean, the money to go to the Jamboree. That's the most important thing.
Well, okay.
This Dayton, Ohio youngster is big stuff around the car, and it'll pay off for him. Our friend in Maine will make it to California this way. While out in Grand Junction, Colorado, they have other ideas. And in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Junior dreamed this up.
Hey, Charlie, what's the big idea?
Oh, I'm running money for the Jamboree.
How you coming along?
It's doing pretty good until I ran into this large-size model. The soap will cost me more than I'm getting for the job. Hey, Charlie, hand me that towel. Come on, Benny.
This young genius is using his head. He's a baby walker. It's not too bad a job if he can keep it a secret from the gang. Meanwhile, things are moving along at the Irvine Ranch.
Looks like we only have a few days left. How are we fixed?
All right, the lights, telephone, and water lines are all in and ready.
Careful planning and know-how have worked magic with a naked land. Blueprints have been transformed into reality, into roads, buildings, commissaries, refrigerated shacks, health centers, first aid tents, and telephone exchanges. These skilled switchboard operators are busy notifying the nationwide telephone system of a brand new number, Jamboree 1953. They're getting ready at medical headquarters, where the colonel talks things over with his staff.
We are really here more for the parents' comfort than for the boys themselves. Scouts are healthy and self-reliant, practically young doctors with their first aid training. So most of you will have plenty of time to catch up on your reading or have a few games of bridge.
This fire chief heads the largest fire department in the world. 4 emergency stations backed up by 50,000 boys, all trained in the basic rules of safety. The ocean can be dangerous at its most pleasurable moments. This major is in command of a helicopter group that will patrol the bathing beach in cooperation with the Coast Guard.
You'll patrol the shore while the beach is in use and be ready at any time to take over an emergency. These boys are coming here for a good time, and we need to see that they have it. We'll keep them happy and safe.
Helicopters in the air, boats in the water, lifeguards ashore. No, sir, and no, ma'am. We're not going to miss a trick. Here's a dress rehearsal just to make sure that the experts know the part they will play. The alert is sounded by a watchful lifeguard spotter. The Marine helicopter picks it up and relays it to the Coast Guard duck, which goes promptly into action.
It looks to me like we're about ready for the thundering herd, and the commissary supplies are rolling right now.
Good. Well,
And here they come. From the shadows of Independence Hall, part of the thundering herd is leaving a city of brotherly love, headed for sunny California. From Akron, Ohio, great industrial center, capital of the world's rubber industry, other groups of scouts are on their way. From Tokyo, Japan, democracy's bridgehead in the Pacific, where these scouts helped get out the vote for the first free election ever held in that country. The eyes of Texas are trained on California, too. Here comes the bucking buckaroos of Houston, son. St. Louis, Missouri, where the pioneers once jumped off of the unknown and mysterious West, sends its contingent of youngsters on a modern-day adventure. And from Memphis, Tennessee, cradle of the blues, these boys will represent the deep South at this great gathering. This is the famous Aloha Tower, where our friends board ship for Jamboree Town. Captain Cook called them the Sandwich Isles, but we know them as Hawaii. The Philippines sends its quota, too. Scouts who took part in rebuilding their war-ravaged country. Scouts proud of their new republic. And Kansas City, where they know how to fatten a steer like nowhere else, ships another product, its favorite sons. And Newark, New Jersey. They call it the biggest city next to New York, assembles a group to head west where the buffalo roam. Lots of those Newark boys think Chicago is the real West. But this lad from Chicago knows the West is 1,700 magical miles away. Detroit, which produces more cars than all the rest of the world put together, produces some snappy scouts, too. And the slogan is the same. California, here we come. You don't have to be a boy to understand what a great adventure this is. All we ask is that you think like a boy, of the wonder and splendor of rolling locomotive wheels, of planes taking off into the wild blue yonder. And it's your first trip. Maybe your first journey in anything but the old jalopy. Your first chance to see the country you've read about. To follow the trail of Lewis and Clark. To ride again with Buffalo Bill. To trace the route of Hernando de Soto. To see the wide Mississippi that Mark Twain loved, and the endless plains of Kansas, the Great Lakes around Chicago and Michigan, lakes as big as an ocean, the Rocky Mountains where covered wagons bogged down in snowdrifts, and men and women died to push the flag westward, and Mount Shasta, and the wooded Sierras, and the broad valley of the Columbia River, and the endless towns and streams with names like poems, names you can relish on your tongue. Old English names and Indian names and Spanish names, and names left behind by pioneers. And finally, the lush golden orange groves of sunny California. Now a caravan of special trains, 93 of them, converges from every section of the country. As planes lower their flaps and taxi down the runway of nearby airports, and ocean liners warp into their berths from the far corners of the Pacific, delivering the most precious cargo in all the world, your sons and mine. Boy Scouts who know freedom and its responsibilities. Youngsters with a zest for life and fun. Now the discipline of Jamboree Town takes over. Step on it, fellas. The bus is waiting. Don't worry about your baggage. It'll come by truck. Okay, men. Keep moving now. There are others behind you. As the goal approaches, each eager boy wonders, will this trip be worth the work and the effort? Will it live up to his expectations? Will the dream come true? Yes, these are the thoughts of 50,000 boys, bound together voluntarily by the Scout Law, a code of living that all the world can embrace. 50,000 boys, each bringing a piece of his homeland and culture, each bringing his respect for his fellows and his pride in himself. No dictators heard this, but the young citizens of the free world of tomorrow. Scouts march in troops of 32 under the watchful eyes of a volunteer scoutmaster, who, if you must know, is just as excited as the kids. Listen to the excitement as they get ready to make camp. No confusion here, for every boy knows what he's supposed to do and where he's expected to be. Well, that is, practically everyone, except maybe Dennis here. He certainly didn't forget anything except maybe a road map and a compass. Confidentially, this fellow's lost. But no scout's ever alone at the Jamboree. Each scoutmaster not only looks after his own troop, he has a friendly desire to help all boys. Unit leaders register the name, address, and telephone number of every scout here at headquarters.
I'm Stan Green, Scoutmaster Troop 33, Section 27. I'm from Great Rivers Council in Missouri.
Oh, yeah, Stan. Glad to know you. This is Scout RSA Panlillo of the Philippines. 5 scouts.
Thanks, 5 scouts.
Mike Miller, Kennewick, Washington, 30 scouts.
Federico Pizarro, Mexico City, Troop 11, 5 scouts.
John Tojima, Hawaii, Troop 53, 35 boys.
Murphy Green, Harlan, Kentucky, Troop 10, 30 scouts.
Javed Hussain, Pakistan, Section 2, Region 9, Troop 9. Okay. Tony Schaefer, New Martinsville, West Virginia, Troop 33, 40 scouts.
Malcolm Lowe, Troop 15, Wellesley, Massachusetts, 38 scouts.
George Charlotte, Tokyo, 14 scouts.
Dennis Cole, Newport Beach, California.
How many?
Just me.
We're glad to have you with us, Denny.
Scouting is more than learning how to light a fire without matches, or accumulating merit badges, or tying trick knots. It is the art of working with the other fellow in the spirit of give and take. No scout is alone here. Everyone has his buddy. They pitch in together to help one another and share their knowledge. Like Joe and Wilbur. Joe's digging a shoulder hole. He figures it'll help him sleep more comfortably. Wilbur thinks he's digging the hole too deep and says so. But Joe likes a deep sleep. When covered with waterproof cloth, these holes become a sort of a body contour mattress. Or do they? As I said, it's all in the spirit of give and take.
Remember, boys, that this bag must be kept off the ground at all times.
Shall we put in these chlorinating tablets now?
Oh, you boys don't have to put anything in that water. The water's pure.
We know that, sir, but we have to do this in our country during the war, as our well were all contaminated.
If we don't put them in the water, it tastes funny to us.
Well, if you're used to it, go ahead and put it in.
Okay, boss.
Jeepers, how many cars did you ride?
117. I've been riding for 3 weeks.
What do they say?
They tell about what a wonderful time I've had here at the Jamboree.
But you haven't had it yet.
Well, I'm going to, and if you think I'm going to miss any of the fun by riding carts while I'm here, you're crazy.
Dr. Walker's witch gonna make it?
I think with a little penicillin and a couple of comic books for a day, you'll be all right.
Okay. How's John Sunburn, Doctor?
I think it's going to be all right. This California sunshine's a little hard on a Texas boy.
Yeah. Think of Leo?
I don't know. What is this you got on your face here?
Not dirt.
And so our magic city is finally ready. Our citizens have arrived by the thousands, and our city has become alive. As the day closes, in each of the 1,500 troops, the traditional Patrol Leaders Council is called. Here, the elected leaders meet with the scoutmaster and his assistant.
Looks like some of us are getting pretty sleepy. I think we've had a pretty big day today, and I think we better hit the side. We've got a big day tomorrow at the opening of our Jamboree, so let's go to bed and get some rest.
The great day arrives. Breakfast is soon over. Now for the grand opening ceremonies in the Avenue of Flags. Banners of free nations majestically mount the flagstaffs raised by boys from all over the world. It is an inspiring moment, and one that is deeply symbolic, for each scout respects and values all that is good in the tradition of every people. He welcomes the fruits of their culture, and being exposed to it, makes it a part of his own. Let's meet some of these visitors from the Philippines, Israel, Japan, Canada, Mexico, the Netherlands, Pakistan, Turkey, Greece, Peru, Cuba, Brazil, West Germany, France, Sweden, Denmark. Now the Jamboree is officially open. So let's travel around and see what's going on. All over the camp, the lid is off. Here at the blacksmith shop, the boys beat out something useful. I don't know whether or not this is useful, but he certainly is beating it out. Every boy at the Jamboree is both a performer and a spectator. If you are a blacksmith, you get a chance to be a marksman. Since not every marksman's a sharpshooter, we take care that the sport is safe and foolproof.
I shot 5 times. I got 9 holes in my target.
Heck, you got 4 of mine. When the targets are examined, it's often hard to figure out where some of the shots went. Some of these boys are as good as Robin Hood. You've heard a lot of jokes about making a fire by rubbing a couple of scouts together. But 2 world wars have proven that the skills and crafts learned as a boy in scouting helped many a man to survive. This calls for teamwork as well as muscle and dexterity. These youngsters are real artists with leather, and some of the things they're making will come in mighty handy later on when they start swapping and trading. The skeet range develops quick reflexes and a steady eye. And it pays off come the day when Dad and Junior go hunting together. Abe Lincoln had nothing on these boys. Hey, Bud, hit that again. It might get away. This proves something, but I forget what. This champion flycaster shares his skill with the boys. Plunk, right in the center. Gold is where you find it. And to make this activity more real, those washings have been salted with a few nuggets. Here's a fire tower built without nails. It's held together by good scout knots. Just what a boy ordered, something to test his skill, something to climb on. Indian lore has a colorful appeal to the imagination. Many a rhythm will be beat out in the next 10 days. The spirit of free enterprise seems part of every scout. And here he has established his own marketplace or swapping tent. No money is used. Trade and barter is the custom. Here you will find oil from Texas, wheat from Kansas, Mississippi water, quartz from the Rocky Mountains, and animals galore, all types and all sizes. Of course, there are private offices for swapping also, but the big tent is where the real action takes place. Well, let's drop in and listen for a minute.
What else you give me with the horn toads? Oh, gosh, I don't know. Do I hear any offers from anybody else?
I'll give you this neckerchief and this neckerchief slide for it.
Oh, no, for that? What are you kidding?
Well, what do you want? My gosh, it's a Region 11.
I wouldn't give you nothing for that.
Oh,
I'll maybe give you this slide for it, but that's about it.
Oh, shoot.
I'll give you the cane for it. No, here, what about the camera and that horn toad for it? No, I don't know.
A tug of war. This is a great way to work off extra steam. Here, timing, muscle, and teamwork count. And this very same teamwork can be very helpful when, for instance, your truck gets stuck in the sand.
Oh, pull the rope, never give up your hope. Oh, pull the rope, never give up your hope.
Hey, fella, the world champion archer is giving a show in the arena. What's his name?
Howard Hill. I saw him in a movie once shooting sharks with a bow and arrow.
Say, I bet he's as good as William Tell.
Well, if he wants a target, here I am.
I don't want to miss this. Oh, boy, let's go.
Howard Hill has long been a legend among scouts, and it's a thrill when the legend becomes a reality. None of the Hollywood stars are too busy to take time off and entertain their young fans. There's no need to tell you that this is Roy Rogers and his famous horse, Trigger.
Well, fellas, this is Trigger, the horse that's carried me over a lot of rough roads in the past few years making pictures. Here's his way of saying thank you.
Here's Mrs. Rogers, better known as Dale Evans, his co-star. Frank Phelan is here for laughs, and he gets them. And Eddie Bracken's pantomime made a big hit, too. And for a moment, Mitzi Gaynor was everybody's girlfriend. Jerry Colonna's luxurious mustache and barbershop soprano went over big. Here's a real favorite, Dottie Lamour. This mother of two Cub Scouts really understands the hearts of boys. But as the afternoon wanes, it's back to camp.
Hey, fellas, we better get back to camp in time for supper. What wrong with the one with any level? What do you say? He says let's go back and have some of that wonderful ice cream.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I can stand some more hamburgers.
I'm going to eat 8 hot dogs. Let's go, man. Let's go. I've got to get back to camp. I'm on the cooking detail tonight.
So have I. I got to pick up stuff at commissary.
Hey, fellas, let's get together later. Sure, at the big arena.
For the first time since arriving, we began to feel the tremendous size of our Scout City as our 50,000 boys began to assemble at the great arena. It is a sight that is both thrilling and inspiring. No Hollywood, radio, or TV stars for this performance. Tonight, the boys are putting on the show themselves. And this vast audience will thrill to the pageant of 300 years of our history. Lanny Ross, who's been a scout since he was 12 years old, starts the ball rolling with a Boy Scout song. And Dr. Shuck, Chief Scout Executive, sets the scene for the show to go on. The theme of our spectacle is the building of America. The first citizens of the bountiful continents were the Indians. Next, the birth of a new nation symbolized by Washington at Valley Forge. Soon, the Louisiana Purchase expanded the boundaries of the young nation westward. Opening the way west, the covered wagon became an enduring symbol of hope and independence as thousands of immigrants with their wives and children traveled the hardships of the trail to find land they could develop into fruitful homes with their own labor. And because they had hope, they had their moments of joy. Then came the gold rush, and the world went wild. In 1869, trains from east and west met at Promontory Point, Utah. With the driving of the Golden Spike, the continent was linked by rail. With the perfection of transportation, the nation grew and needed the products of the West. So our good neighbors in Mexico came in to help develop California's vast agriculture. And when work was done, in the evening, they celebrated with age-old Spanish dances. And as is customary at all Scout gatherings, the day closes with a tribute to the flag. One of the things that will be long remembered is a campfire song before bedtime.
Long day, I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Can't you hear the captain shouting? Dinah, blow your horn.
Don't you feel good?
I feel all right, I guess.
Ever been away from home before?
No.
I know what's the matter with you. You're homesick. I felt the same way the first time I went to camp. Still do. Miss your mom, don't you?
Yeah.
So do I. See that star up there? That same star's looking down on your mom. Kind of makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Name's David.
That's my name.
Morning finds the fellows looking forward to their first swim in the ocean.
Hurry up, Gus. Leave right away. They say the ocean tastes real salty.
Sure, oceans always taste salty.
Well, I didn't know. We don't have oceans in Oklahoma. I've heard the waves come in 20 foot high. Sure, you dive right under them. I never did learn to swim underwater.
I have enough trouble staying on top.
Boy, I might start swimming and swim right to China. Better take your sleeping bag with you. You might get tired. Hey, let's get going. We'll miss the bus.
This is Operation Dunk. 4,000 boys are moved to the beach in buses 3 minutes apart. Each swim lasts exactly 1 hour. The bus ride, the singing, the shouting, and the happy horseplay build to one supreme moment. Pacific Ocean, here we come.
Come on, Scouts, hit the trail, hit the trail. Come on, Scouts, hit the trail, hit the trail. And we'll come to the end with a fair. When we finish our track, we all pitch in and camp. Come on, Scouts, hit the trail, hit the trail. When we finish our track, we all pitch in and camp. Come on, Scouts, hit the trail, hit the trail.
Now hear this. Now hear this. Every boy on this beach will have a buddy. Stay together. And if you get into any trouble, you buddies help each other. Now all you buddies join hands. When you go into the water, you will put your tags on these boards. And when you come out, you will take them off. So your leaders will have a check at all times. Enjoy your swim. But don't get fresh with the breakers. You'll find them pretty strong. And don't try to swim to Catalina. It's too far away. Go ahead now and have a good time. The boys know the rules are for their protection, and they obey them to the letter. And they must be having fun because we can hear them way up here. The echoes of these excited voices will ring along these shores for many a year to come. Well, let's get back to camp and see what the other 46,000 boys are doing. Wait a minute, what's this? This may look just like a plain old hill to you, but that's because you're not a boy. It's their own private, exclusive Sun Valley, the Jamboree toboggan slide. And it works swell with the aid of some old corrugated boxes from the commissary. Wave after wave take off, shouting, tumbling, head over heels, arms, legs, and hats mixed up into one big hash. Look out below! Hey, stop! But you can't stop, not when it's as slick as this. An old box, a boy, and a hill. Who could ask for more? But Mom will have to get busy with the needle and thread when they get home. You can bet on that. You don't have to look for them when the chow flag's up. They come on the double. Funny, isn't it, how a boy will always take care of his stomach when he's hungry? And eating is a major occupation at Jamboree Town. Supplies are picked up. Milk, eggs from the field refrigerators, staples and canned goods from the commissary tents. All hands pitch in to get the meal ready. The menu isn't as fancy as the Waldorf's, but what tastes better than a charcoal broiled hamburger after a day in the oven? No matter how hungry the kids are, there's always time to say grace. A clean camp is a healthy camp, And no one shirks his duty. All refuse, every scrap of paper is picked up. Dishes are washed and scalded. There's a place for everything, and everything finds its place. And now, the magic moment of dusk. The time for songs and fellowship. The time to assemble at the troop campfire and relax.
I've got sixpence, jolly, jolly sixpence. I've got sixpence to last me all my life. I've got tuppence to spend and tuppence to lend and tuppence to send home to my wife. Poor wife, no cares have I to grieve me. No pretty little girl to deceive me.
Bet you're not homesick now, are you? No, I feel all right. Maybe your mom's lonesome for you, too. No, I got her a postcard. Dear Mom, everything is swell. Having a wonderful time. Love, Dennis. P.S. Wish you were here. What would your mom be doing here? I don't know.
We go rolling.
Today is Sunday, the day for peace and rest, the day set aside for devotion. As a boy, I remember how Ma used to have to holler for me to wash up and shine my shoes when it was time to go to church. But here, I found it a signal tribute to this day of worship that the boys, to a man, are doing all of these things of their own free will. There's always a note of humor around boys. A fancy curl is just enough to bring out a little kidding. The final touch on the neckerchief, and they're ready to go. You fathers and mothers would have been proud to see these long lines of boys, your sons, as they departed for divine services. The spiritual strength you gave them came here with them. These long lines of boys, free to worship God in the way they believed, are on their way to Sunday services. Recognizing their own freedom, they respected the freedom of others. How could anyone who saw this great movement of boys of all faiths doubt for an instant but that the future will be in good hands? Small valley on the Jamboree grounds, Cardinal McIntyre celebrates a high mass. While on a nearby hill overlooking the great amphitheater, the Buddhists raised their Christian scientists have gathered solemnly about their reader for worship. And here, the superintendent of youth activities of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints conducts their services. While on a neighboring hill, a rabbi leads his Jewish congregation in their ancient rites. Protestant churches gather in the big arena to worship in harmony under the ministry of the Protestant Chaplain General of the Jamboree. Of the world where men must pray in secret today. But here, the boys worship in the open with a great blue bowl of heaven above and a feel of good, rich earth below. And they are brought closer to Him and to their fellows. mind turns to eating. Boys always seem to think about eating. And so the oasis is always filled.
¿Quién se niega para comer? No, porque acabo de tener un desayuno muy fuerte. What'd he say? He says he had a very big breakfast. Well, tell him that an ice cream cone is good before breakfast, after breakfast, and any time at all.
If you eat enough of that stuff, you won't have to worry about dinner and breakfast.
Dice que si comes nieve no tienes que multiplicar para desayuno. Entonces quiero un hot dog, una hamburguesa y todo, un refresco. He says that he wants a hot dog, hamburger, ice cream cone, and soda. Let's have a hot dog, hamburger, ice cream cone, and soda.
Okay.
If he just had breakfast, how can he eat all that? Well, I didn't have any breakfast. Come on, fellas, let's go and see what's doing.
Yeah, I want to see some of them gates.
Come on, let's go.
The various sections of the country try to outdo one another in decorating their entrances. This is the New Harbor Gateway. Maine. Potawatomi, Wisconsin. La Crosse, Wisconsin. Southwest Michigan. Crescent Bay area. The Cherokee area. And Iowa, Nebraska. Dallas, Texas. Dazzling Dallas Troop 70. And the Dallas Longhorns. Virginia. Santa Maria, California. Harrison Trails. The International Gateway, proving that scouting belongs to the world. Here is a visitor who has lived in East Germany under communist rule. And these scouts are listening intently as he tells how the communists not only put an iron curtain around the countries, but also around each individual. He tells of the restrictions, rules, regulations, and hardships under the communists, and that he's happy to be at the Jamboree, and his newfound American friends are happy to have him. Day set aside to honor God comes to an end, and 50,000 boys of all faiths attend the convocation ceremonies. The Chief Scout Executive, Dr. Arthur A. Shuck, introduces 4 of the nation's great religious leaders. The first benediction is pronounced by the Right Reverend Stephen F. Bain, representing 30 Protestant churches of America. Mr. Albert R. Curtis of the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints pronounces a blessing. God's grace is asked by Rabbi Norman Salet, President of the Synagogue Council of America. The Very Reverend Monsignor George M. Dowd, National Director of the Roman Catholic Committee on Scouts, asks for divine guidance. John M. Schiff, National President of the Boy Scouts, introduces Vice President Nixon. Mr. Nixon, speaking for the nation, stressed the great contribution made by the Boy Scouts to the American way of life. And now comes one of the most inspiring moments of the whole Jamboree. The candlelight service, when each boy rededicates himself to the service of God, and by his prayer and lighted candle, asks that peace and understanding return once more to our troubled world. don't tell me they've all gone home. Uh-oh, here they come. And they're a pretty tired-looking troop. And you'd be tired, too, if you'd been as active as they have these past few days. You may not believe it, but when boys have been in camp for 3 or 4 days, they begin to miss their mothers more than ever. It's not so much because of the cookies she makes or the way she tucks them into bed at night, but because she seems to have a never-ending supply of clean clothes for him to wear. Yes, sir, even a boy is forced to admit eventually that clothes do get dirty. And so, the inevitable wash day has caught up with us. Well, just for a minute or two, let's see how they handle it.
Hey, what are you doing?
This is the way my grandma used to do washing when I was young.
How's it work?
Fine.
I'd like to try that. Where'd you get the rock?
Yeah, you can use mine. I'll show you how to do it.
Hold it, fellas. You're doing it all wrong. I got it, the washing machine. A washing machine? How does it work? Very simple. It's the greatest thing ever invented. My atomic washing machine. Now hand me some clothes. Okay, who has the soap? I'm ready for the water. Hold it, that's enough. You, Jimmy, stretch out on your back and put your feet up. Sammy, you do the same right over here. Who, me? Yeah.
Go ahead.
You kick it to him. Hey, keep doing that till I tell you to stop.
Well, George, I told you about my country. Suppose you tell me something about America.
Oh, I come out in a bus, and it was my first chance to really see the country. We studied about the Mississippi River in school, but I never knew it was that big.
I stopped at the Grand Canyon. It's the biggest thing of the whole world. When the sun sets on it, it's just beautiful. When we landed in New York, the buildings were so tall and there were so many people, I was just lost.
Did you see the Statue of Liberty?
You bet I did. She even waved at me.
Took us 3 days to cross the state of Texas.
I saw in California great cotton fields, just the same that we have our cotton in Brazil. I crossed the Rocky Mountains, and they made me think of the Bavarian Alps. They are so high, and their tops are covered with snow.
It sure is a big country.
That's enough, man. Oh, Dad, give me that broom over there. Hi, Tommy. What you doing?
I'm writing a letter home. Hey, where'd you get the king snake?
Oh, I caught him. Caught me a parakeet and a horned toad, too.
Hey, they're keen.
I'm gonna catch me an alligator.
An alligator? Where?
There's the boy over in Region 6. He's got one. He wants $17 for him, though. I think I'll just wait till he loses it. Then I'll catch me an alligator. Well, I'll see you, Tommy. Good night.
Okay, I'll see you, Joe. And so you can see, Dad, I'm having an awful good time. I'll sure have a lot to tell you when I get home. I sure miss you and the folks. Goodbye now, Tommy.
Morning brings the day's food supplies. 100,000 quarts of milk are delivered daily. 1 million quarts were consumed during the Jamboree, while 500,000 loaves of fresh bread were eaten by the 50,000 boys. Thousands of pounds of meat coming off these trucks will require 15,000 charcoal fires going at once.
funky gal sing Hollywood doodle-day. Very well, very well, very well, my fairy fay. From one Louisiana where she was singing Hollywood doodle-day. Oh, and I'm come for to see myself sing Hollywood doodle-day. And she am the funky gal sing Hollywood doodle-day.
What you doing there?
Shh, keep quiet. I nearly had him.
Had who?
The master went in this hole here.
Where are you from?
North Carolina. Where are you from?
Brooklyn. What are you using for bait?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. I don't know what he eats.
In Brooklyn, the mice like cheese. What do you need a mouse for?
If I catch this mouse alive, I can trade him for 2 horned toads.
Sometimes it's easier to catch a mouse than to keep track of parents.
Now, here's your walkie-talkie, sir.
Sure thing, son. Go right ahead.
Cub Scout Wilford Blaine from Pack 129, Pacific Beach. I am at GHQ. Would like to report my mother and father seem to be lost. I'll wait in the tent. Thank you, sir. Much obliged, sir.
You're welcome, son.
Lots of excitement at headquarters because tonight's the big Hollywood show. Frank Freeman, president of the Producers Association, turns comedian momentarily when he introduces that ever-loving wisecracker.
Start the show off by introducing a very lovely lady from MGM who's going to sing the national anthem. A big hand for Miss Jane Powell right here.
Front and center to the stage with the flag escort.
Stagecoach holdup is reenacted for the boys, and the posse chasing it is made up of some of Hollywood's best-known Western stars. Johnny Mac Brown from Alabama. Wild Bill Elliott of Missouri. Preston Foster, New Jersey. Hank LaRue of Louisiana. George Montgomery, Montana. Hank Ritter from Texas. Jack Mahoney, Iowa. And Dick Jones, Texas. Now, Bob Hope introduces a whole gallery of Hollywood notables. June Allison, New York. Anne Francis, New York. Rita Barron from Spain. Rory Calhoun. Jeff Chandler, Brooklyn. Mitzi Gaynor, Illinois. Gene Nelson, Washington. Dick Powell, Arkansas. Jane Powell, no relation. Debbie Reynolds. Will Rogers, Jr. Jan Sterling, New York. Vera Ellen, Ohio. George Montgomery, Montana. Danny Kaye, Brooklyn. It's not the 4th of July, but what would a jamboree be without fireworks? Here is just wonderful. You can get your shower right in bed. Yes, Scouts always believe that one good turn deserves another. Now for the sightseeing tour. Something to talk about in the years to come. Here, some visitors from Florida get a chance to find fault with California's oranges. A large group of boys visited the old mission of San Juan Capistrano, founded in the 1700s and famous for its swallows. From these docks, water taxis took many of the boys on a trip 20 miles out in the blue Pacific to Catalina Island. A boy from Texas explained these oil wells to us. He allowed us how his state had loaned them to California for the Jamboree. We were invited to inspect this giant hangar for lighter-than-air craft at the Naval Air Base at Santa Ana. There's a fascination about aircraft that attracts boys and men alike. Here, the boys were shown the assembly line and finished product at Lockheed Air Plant. By an air show of famous Sabre jets. Seeing friends are back at Jamboree Town again.
Hey, fellas, he rolled me up here. How do you like that? I always thought cops was mean.
Ah, you must be a tenderfoot. Once you've been a scout a little while, you know the cops are okay. Give me another pop.
Here's the real thing, the real Wild West. What's that teamwork between horse and rider? Get that calf tied, cowboy, all 4 feet. Uh-oh. This little doggy seems to have outsmarted our rider and is going back to mama. Look at these buck horses. Ride him, cowboy. Yes, sir. Montana's one of the most of the whole Jamboree. Here's your old friend Ben Hunt, right out of the pages of Boy's Life, with his old friend Pedro. And who's this? Why, it's a friend of Pedro's, Francis the Talking Mule, with everybody's friend Chill Wills, the pride of the Rio Grande. On the final night, the big farewell show of the Jamboree brings boys from every corner of the camp, and about 30,000 visitors. Watch them as they stream up from the valleys and swarm down from the hills.
We will hear a message from the Honorary President of the Boy Scouts of America, the President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower.
I am very happy to greet all of you at the 3rd National Boy Scout Jamboree. I should very much like to be with you, for I recall with real pleasure my visit 3 years ago to the 2nd National Jamboree. It was a memorable experience. Among you at this Jamboree, there are Boy Scouts, explorers, and scout leaders from every state in the Union, as well as from Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico, and some 16 other countries. Each of you have made new friends, acquired new skills, learned to appreciate new values, and in all likelihood, you have gained a new sense of the vastness and complexities of this nation and of the world. I'm confident that in meeting and talking with your fellow scouts, you have also gained a renewed awareness of the need for cooperation, working together in our country and in the world. Even when people come from most distant places, bonds of common purpose and common ideals can unite them. This is an important lesson. And if you have learned no other, you leave this Jamboree with a new wisdom. I know this has been a week filled with great memories for all of you. Good luck to each of you and best wishes for every success.